Hi, welcome back to Structured Product Management Thinking, the channel that's dedicated to helping product managers of all experience levels improve their skill sets and further their careers. My name is Kurt Van Etten. This video will be focusing on the Structured Product Management Thinking framework, and in particular the first phase of ecosystem analysis and discussing how to do industry analysis. In this phase, you're going to need to answer some very key questions. What market are we playing in and how is it defined? What's a total addressable market? What will this market look like in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What's the growth rate of this market? And who are the major players in this market? In order to do this, we're going to leverage both external and internal resources. So let's talk about external resources. Depending on the size of your organization, you may have access to industry analysts. And analysts work for companies like Gartner, Forrester, and IDC, and many others who specialize in a particular vertical. They work with their customers to recommend products and services for them to purchase. So they're constantly speaking with both customers to understand what their needs are and constantly meeting with vendors to understand and evaluate their products. They're an excellent resource of understanding what customers are asking for now and what they believe they will be asking for customers in the future. In addition to industry analysts, there's other great outside resources like Statistica for demographic information or Nielsen for media information. Other great external resources include tools that focus more on competitive space like G2 and Capterra. These sites allow you to go in and look at particular products, compare them to each other, and get user reviews and get a feel for where the industry is going and what features they value. And finally, let's not overlook generative AI. Generative AI is an excellent tool for doing industry analysis. It can help you answer questions around total addressable market and market size. It can also help you understand what are some key user problems that are being seen across industry. So let's go and take a look at some of these tools. Okay, so let's take a look at how generative AI can really help us in industry analysis. So let's take a hypothetical example, and we're a product manager and we're new to the CRM space. And so we're trying to understand customer relationship management. So just to get an overall idea of the market, we can put a prompt. Hey, what's the total addressable market for the CRM category and projected growth rates? ChatGPT will quickly return an answer. They'll give us, say, it's 91.43 billion. It's projected to reach 262 billion by 2032 and gives us the combined annual growth rate of 12.6. Even takes a step further and breaks it down for us in the US market. It's also really nice is it lists all the sources, and I think this is super important. Anytime you're going to present numbers in a business case, executive staff, you're going to ask, where did you get those numbers? So you want to be able to point to the Fortune, Grandview, CRM.org, etc., Statistica, and it gives you a lot of credibility that you're pulling these numbers from multiple sources. So that's a really nice feature in ChatGPT. But maybe you want to go a little bit deeper and really understand, hey, in this space, what are the top issues? From a user perspective, we can write that prompt as well and say, what are the top user challenges when adopting a CRM solution? And you can see it'll come up with some of the friction points around user adoption and training, data management issues, data quality issues, records, integrations, etc. If we also wanted to get an understanding of who are the major players in this space, we can do that as well. So I'm going to put a prompt in here. It says, what are the top 4 solutions by market share in the CRM industry? And I'm going to be more specific, say specifically for small businesses under 20 million in annual recurring revenue. And it's going to give me the top players by market share: Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho CRM, and Fresh Sales. And do that. So in addition to generative AI tools, we mentioned other sites that do competitive analysis and industry analysis, such as G2 and Capterra. I'm going to go ahead and pull up G2. For those not familiar with G2, this is a site that helps people and companies with their buying decisions around software. So you can see you can go through software. They have analysts that cover a number of software categories. You see the most popular here on the left. They allow people to write user reviews so you can get direct customer feedback. They have buyer reports as well. And you can see that they cover a pretty broad category of software. You can see many listed here. If I was to click all software, the list will even get larger. So it's worth investigating whether your category is covered by G2 or Capterra. But I'm going to continue along our CRM software. And you'll see the first thing is an analyst that covers the CRM space. This research at the top is primarily defining the category. So you can see what kind of features are required for inclusion in the CRM category. They also do some recommendations by segmentation. We'll talk about segmentation in another module, but they're doing it mostly by business size. So you can see for small business, mid-market, enterprise, they've made recommendations, and then also user satisfaction and free software to do that. But you'll also notice we have a little icon down here on the left, which is G2's AI, which I believe sits on top of ChatGPT. So we can pull this up and we can provide a prompt that's around asking a little more specific questions. So say I want to understand, for large enterprise sector, specifically in the EU, what are the most important features for the CRM system? So you can see it's going to give us a list of features. You can see that these look pretty good. This looks very specific to the EU. At the top is data security and GDPR. For those not familiar, GDPR is a privacy compliance regulation in the EU. We talked about large enterprise, so scalability is important. You have to have integrations, complexity, and advanced reporting and analytics. And then you can go in and get some recommendations from them and see who are the top players in this particular space. So you can see here in a very short amount of time, we're able to understand the size of the CRM market. We were able to understand the growth rates. We were able to understand some of the top user challenges, and we're able to understand, some of the top players, and also players specifically by size of organization or by geography. So generative AI is a very powerful tool to help you with your industry analysis. I wouldn't necessarily consider any of these results actionable, but again, it gets you in the ballpark. I would definitely recommend, if you have access to an industry analyst, and whether that's internal or external to your organization, that you continue to meet with them. And all these findings you should be taking note of, because you're probably going to want to validate them later in the process. So now that we've done some secondary research, you really cannot ignore using your internal resources. Any product manager should be constantly in contact with sales engineering, customer support, professional services. If you're going through the channel, your channel partner is constantly getting feedback. And it is certainly appropriate to ask them industry level questions about, hey, what are they seeing in the industry? What trends are they seeing? Are they seeing new competitors enter the market? What are customers asking for? These are all important questions to be asked while you're doing your industry analysis. So now let's talk about some of the mantras and best practices in this phase. I think the most important mantra in this phase is listen first, solve later. And my favorite, don't lead with a fluffy puppy. I think all too often, and certainly I've done this early in my career, so when you're meeting with an analyst or an executive, you really want to impress them, you want to show how smart you are, and so you have a presentation that you put together and you want to present your plan or your ideas to them. Well, there's a lot of risks with this. One is if they agree with you and they think you're on, it's all well and good, but if there's disagreement, the conversation can become confrontational very quickly. And it's much better to ask questions first about their opinions and disassociate yourself with those opinions so you can get more honest feedback. So for example, you can say things like, hey, we're debating internally whether we should enter the Japanese market. What are your opinions on that? And what would be some of the challenges entering the Japanese market? This puts the analysts in a position that they can speak very freely and not having a conversational conversation. And you can do this with other features as well. But what happens too often, right, is the second mantra is like leading with a fluffy puppy. And what do I mean by that? So early in my career, I was working with a very engineering-centric organization. The engineers would constantly come up with ideas and say, hey, product team, can you take this to a customer? Tell me what you think. And ask them what they think. Ask them what they think. And I said, guys, I can take my dog here, Sparky. He's very cute. He's very soft and fluffy, and take it to a customer and say, hey, what do you think about Sparky? And most customers are generally polite, and they're going to say, yeah, he's really soft and he's cute. I like Sparky. But that doesn't mean that we should go and start manufacturing white fluffy dogs because it's not solving a customer problem. And again, this is all indications of jumping to the solution space too quickly. So what are some of the best practices in this space? Certainly make a project plan, figure out who you want to talk to, and how much time do you have, how much risk is involved, how much of this information is actually going to influence future decisions are all really important questions to ask. You want to make the rounds. You want to make the rounds with your external resources, your internal resources. You want to leverage generative AI as well. And you want to look for problems and opportunities at this phase and not necessarily solutions. And those are some of the anti-patterns, right? Is jumping to solutions, coming up with a plan and just asking for feedback on your plan without listening first, and that leading with a fluffy puppy. So now that we have an understanding at this point of the industry, some of the competitors, a good ecosystem, it's now really to dive deep in to understanding our customers and our prospects. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next module.